Welcome to the YouTube channel, Captivating Home, where today we're exploring classic plaid no Christmas cottage decor ideas 2025, focusing on cozy tartan and vintage farmhouse holiday style with an emphasis on timeless ambience and seasonal warmth without traditional Christmas references. In this video, you'll discover how tartan patterns, aged woods, and nostalgic textures bring an inviting charm to your cottage-inspired interior. We'll also explore the mood these elements create, one of restful sanctuary, rustic storytelling, and enduring style. Together, we'll journey through 12 carefully crafted sections that help transform any space into a warm, plaid-wrapped haven. Let's get started. Anchoring spaces with classic plaid textiles. When incorporating plaid textiles, consider how tartan patterns ground a room with structure and rhythm, shaping the visual balance and emotional tone of the space. Plaid works beautifully on sofas, throws, cushions, and even upholstered benches, providing both familiarity and sophistication. A well-placed pattern can mimic the comforting predictability of woven heritage, subtly guiding the eye across surfaces. In this approach, textiles become not just decorative additions, but foundational components of the room's identity. If you're aiming for a vintage farmhouse feel, choose muted earth-tone plaid rusted reds, soft moss greens, or autumnal browns and pair them with aged woods or iron finishes. In doing so, the room begins to evoke a sense of gentle continuity, as if it belongs to a lineage of spaces nurtured slowly over time. This deliberate pairing encourages tactile engagement, inviting guests to sit, relax, and settle into the atmosphere unfolding around them. With just a few key plaid pieces, even a modern room can gain the charm of a nostalgic country cottage. Warm woods and distressed finishes. Nothing enhances cozy tartan style quite like natural wood finishes, especially those that show subtle signs of age or handcrafted personality. The slight imperfections, patina marks, gentle grain variations, soft worn edges tell a story of authenticity that complements plaid harmoniously. It's less about gloss and polish and more about texture, history, and the quiet dignity of time. This layered aesthetic gives spaces an instant feeling of warmth, grounding them in material honesty and warmth. Distressed wood works particularly well in tables, shelving, and even wall paneling, acting as a reflective backdrop for tartan accents. When paired effectively, the room hums with a cozy timelessness, making it feel intimate, familial, and deeply inviting. Even newer pieces can be refinished or intentionally aged to capture this graceful, heritage-inspired look. Used thoughtfully, distressed wood becomes the silent narrator of a space echoing serene cottage charm. Layering comfort through soft furnishings. The real magic of a cottage-style environment emerges through layers of textiles that evoke coziness, warmth, and approachable comfort. Think wool blankets, linen slipcovers, flannel accents, and upholstered seating with depth and softness. These elements help transform a visually appealing room into a sensory refuge that feels restful and calming. Even subtle pairings of textures enhance the interplay between pattern and quiet, understated surfaces. By layering soft furnishings, you also introduce a sculptural quality into the space, where pillows create dimension and draping fabrics soften architectural edges. This approach emphasizes atmosphere over ornamentation, prioritizing how the room feels rather than merely how it appears. It's this principle that makes Cozy Tartan farmhouse style so enduring. Its success lies in sensory experience, memory associations, and emotional response. In layering softness, you layer comfort into the soul of the home. Inviting vintage elements and heirloom objects. Cottage decor thrives on personal history, which is why incorporating heirloom objects or vintage finds brings such emotional resonance to a room. These items, old books, antique clocks, woven baskets, or aged ceramics, add personality and authenticity. Their imperfections are their beauty, carrying a feeling of continuity across decades. In contrast with predictable store-bought decor, heirloom pieces hold presence, narrative, and quiet character. When thoughtfully positioned, vintage accents act like punctuation marks in the visual storytelling of a space. They can transform a simple coffee table into a curated showcase of memory or turn a shelf into an evolving display of meaningful objects. The key is selecting items that feel intentional and complementary to the Plaid meets farmhouse aesthetic. Combined with tartan motifs, these accents produce a layered, lived-in charm that radiates welcome and warmth. Farmhouse lighting for soft atmospheric glow. Light is its own kind of decoration, especially when used to cultivate a warm and restful tone throughout a space. Farmhouse-style lighting, soft bulbs, metal fixtures, lantern-inspired lamps adds both function and ambience. When placed thoughtfully, lighting highlights the textures of plaid fabric, distressed wood, and layered furnishings, drawing attention to the tactile charm of the room. The effect is like bathing the space in a soft, golden halo of tranquility. Avoid harsh overhead lights and instead opt for side lamps, sconces, and subtle directional fixtures that create shadow depth and intimate pools of glow. These lower lighting strategies are ideal for crafting a mood that is quiet, relaxed, and emotionally grounded. When light interacts with tartan fabric, it brings out tonal gradients in the pattern, enriching its visual complexity. In this way, lighting is not merely practical, it becomes emotional architecture. Six. Blending nature-inspired materials. The Cozy Tartan farmhouse style depends on drawing serenity from natural elements that echo rustic living and countryside calm. Incorporating organic materials wicker, stone, clay, wool, and wood creates a harmonious setting that emphasizes earthy connection. These materials introduce physical grounding into a space that complements the structural grid of classic plaid patterns. Together, they create a balance of precision and softness, geometry and nature. When you pair these natural elements with tartan, you create contrast, the regularity of pattern meeting the spontaneity of texture. For instance, a wool plaid throw atop a rough-hewn wooden bench marries ruggedness with comfort in a deeply satisfying way. This harmony between contrasting materials and styles is at the heart of cottage decor sophistication. It's proof that character evolves through thoughtful curation rather than perfection. 7. Crafting intimate seating areas. Classic plaid decor shines most brightly in spaces designed for conversation, reflection, and lingering moments. Creating intentionally intimate seating areas helps foster a sense of belonging and unhurried companionship. A tartan-covered pillow on a reading chair, a cozy window nook, or a small arrangement of chairs around a worn table all encourage gathering and quiet moments of contemplation. These pockets of comfort act as retreats within the home. When designing such spaces, simplicity is key. Rather than overwhelming the room with excessive accessories, focus on a few meaningful components: the right fabric pattern, the right chair, the right tactile quality. These thoughtfully arranged elements allow the surroundings to calm the senses rather than overwhelm them. An intimate seating area should feel like an invitation, gentle, enduring, and irresistible. Emphasizing cottage-inspired patterns beyond plaid. While plaid is the leading motif of this aesthetic, other gentle patterns can complement and enhance it without competing for attention. Think of houndstooth, soft florals, narrow stripes, or quilt-like patchwork that adds supportive variety. These additional patterns blend into the visual harmony rather than disrupt it, deepening the layered personality of the space. Pattern mixing becomes not a clash but a chorus. The secret is balancing pattern scale and tonal relationships so that plaid remains foundational while supporting accents enrich the narrative. For example, a room might feature bold tartan on the sofa, subtle pinstripes on accompanying pillows, and a faded floral on a throw. These deliberate choices allow different patterns to coexist in visual serenity that feels authentically cottage-like. The interplay of pattern builds dynamic interest without sacrificing cohesion. Creating nostalgic tabletop styling. Tabletops, coffee tables, side tables, entryway surfaces offer subtle opportunities to display style without dominating the room's decor. Using natural objects like candles, dried herbs, stacked vintage books, and handmade pottery creates a tableau that feels spontaneous yet intentional. These arrangements pair beautifully with plaid textiles draped near or underneath them. The tabletop becomes a quiet story told through carefully placed objects. The key is allowing the tabletop to embody a sense of casual ease rather than museum-like precision. A slight asymmetry or organic grouping enhances the relaxed charm of farmhouse styling. When these vignettes appear beside tartan fabrics or distressed wood, the emotional warmth of the ensemble grows stronger. A table is not merely furniture, it's a miniature exhibition of home personality. Muted seasonal tones without seasonal themes. Many cottage interiors evoke a sense of seasonality not by direct seasonal references but through color palettes and mood. Choosing warm tones like amber, oak, muted berry, or olive subtly evokes natural seasonal transitions while remaining timeless and non-specific. These tones harmonize with plaid beautifully, softening contrast and deepening visual comfort. The effect is an ambience that feels quietly seasonal while remaining broadly applicable year-round. Think of color not as decoration but as an environmental presence that wraps a room in atmospheric warmth. When softened tones wash across walls, textiles, and accent pieces, the room begins to radiate a serene, grounded calm. This concept reinforces the cottage ideal, a safe haven where color nurtures mood rather than pushes a theme. In this palette, plaid integrates seamlessly as an accent of rustic structure and familiarity. Curating wall spaces with character. Walls are blank canvases for identity, and how you treat them determines whether a space feels lived in or merely arranged. Consider frame textiles, nature prints, antique signage, or small-scale gallery compositions that highlight story rather than trend. When these wall elements harmonize with plaid textiles in the room, they echo a shared aesthetic language. The decor begins to feel immersive, like stepping inside a well-kept heritage cottage. Wall decor should never overwhelm, it should whisper character. A single vintage frame hung above a plaid-accented chair may accomplish more emotionally than a crowded wall of mismatched art. The goal is placement and intention, choosing what belongs where and why. When done thoughtfully, wall spaces become quiet anchors of continuity throughout the cottage-style environment. Maintaining balance, cozy yet clutter-free. A common challenge in cottage styling is balancing coziness with spacious clarity, ensuring warmth never becomes clutter. The best approach is editing rather than accumulating, allowing each plaid textile and decorative element to breathe. In doing so, every piece has presence and purpose, contributing to a curated environment. The room feels alive rather than busy. Think of your space like a chapter in an ongoing story. Add elements thoughtfully, remove what feels extraneous, and refine over time. Embrace spaciousness and negative space as components of visual rest. In a balanced environment, plaid remains the comforting star while other elements support and complement it without competing. The result is a calm, harmonious, and inviting living space. Conclusion. We've explored how classic plaid no Christmas cottage decor ideas 2025 highlights cozy tartan charm and vintage farmhouse styling in a way that nurtures restful ambiance and emotional tranquility. These ideas support lasting, year-round comfort rather than temporary seasonal flair, focusing on texture, heritage, and quiet visual poetry within the home. If you found inspiration here, imagine how these ideas might evolve in your own creative interior expression. And if you love nurturing warm spaces like this, then please subscribe to Captivating Home and join our community of decor lovers who celebrate thoughtful, soulful design.